Hi everyone, it's Christy. Welcome back. I'm starting a new series today on altered playing cards. So I'm going to tackle the full deck challenge. And if you don't know what an altered playing card is, I grabbed a few samples out of my stash. An altered playing card is using a playing card as a base for decorating it up and altering it in other ways. And it can be something as simple as like this one. I just put a funny sticker on there because I just thought it made it kind of cute. And then I glued a verse. So that's super simple, okay? Here's another one with a couple stickers. The number 2 of hearts. I put 2 flamingos on there and then a Bible verse. Here's another silly sticker one and then a Bible verse. I also had grabbed a few of these. And I just leave the backs plain. Usually I have sometimes covered the back for certain uses. But I like to leave the fact that, yes, this is a playing card. And so this one I put some scrapbook paper down and a little bit of book page and more scrapbook paper and then the verse. Using up stuff around the house. This was off of a book of stamps. And then here is like a fake postage stamp off of an envelope that came in the mail. So, yeah, and I like to, there's no really rules. Some people will cover up the whole card and just use it like a piece of cardstock. I like to honor the fact that it's a playing card, so I usually try to leave one corner showing, or more, depending on what I've done. So that's what altered playing cards are all about. And so it's a good way to use up if you have an old deck around the house that maybe has become worn on the edges. That's what these were. I had a deck that was really worn out and kind of a marked deck, so I started making playing cards. But I bought an inexpensive deck of cards to do a full deck challenge. So I'm going to try to complete the full deck. So I just bought an inexpensive set of playing cards. Now, one thing about this, especially when you buy the cheap cards, is that they are really shiny and slippery. And sometimes the glue doesn't want to hold on to them real well. So you can have problems with that. And we're going to try to deal with that here a little bit, a couple different ways. So we're going to start with hearts. How about, since February, let's start with hearts. So one of the ways you can deal with the shininess, the reason the glue doesn't want to stick to it is because it's so slippery. And one way to fix that is to give it some tooth by using a sanding block or a piece of sandpaper and just rough it up. That'll give it a little bit of tooth so that the glue will stick to it. But another way is to use tissue paper. And so if you glue down a piece of tissue paper, it will help give it some texture for the next layer to hold on to, okay? So I'm going to go with the tissue paper this time. This is just my glue surface. And we're going to just use some glue stick here. Mod Podge would work, I considered it, but I think the glue stick is going to be more than ample here. This isn't really super. It doesn't take much to hold a piece of tissue paper down. Okay, so just rub it. Make sure I maybe didn't get out to the edge on this corner, so I'm going to just hit that with a little more glue. Let me come up here. Just check your corners is one of the main things. And then, yeah, I think that's good. So that's all there is for that part. Nice thing about using a magazine or catalog, when it gets gluey, you just tear off that page and go to a clean surface. Okay, so there's a couple different things we can do here. Since I didn't grab my sanding block, wait a minute, is it right here? Yes. You can trim it with scissors, or another way to do it is with a sanding block. And you just Look at how easy that just cuts right through there. Tissue paper is super thin. And the sanding block gives it a nice, let me get the corners a little bit better. The sanding block will make a really super velvety edge. It's already separated. The corners didn't get quite enough, so I'm coming back around the corners just to take care of some of that. A little bit more here. Yep, and okay. Very good, very good. So now you can see the whole card is covered, and it's got just a little bit of, you can see just a hint of the tissue paper on there. So now we can decorate it up, and I grabbed, let me kind of push some of this over where you can see it. I grabbed some various and assorted things we can play with. One of the things I wanted to try to do with, one of the things I want to teach you on this is to break boundaries. And so your art is not limited to the surface of the card. I want to glue or attach this girl on the card, and or one of these girls. I have kind of a selection of them. I got these at Hobby Lobby several years ago. I don't think they make them anymore, but I used them on my Valentine cards one year. And so I have a few left, and I thought, oh, this would be a good project for that. So we'll put on a couple layers, and then I'll see where I want to place her. So I have some scraps here. I'm going to kind of hold up some scraps to it and see what, I was thinking about using this, because this one kind of matches her a little bit. So I might use that, but I have some other scraps here that also work. So let me just play with some placement here. These are offcuts from some digital images that are on a lightweight cardstock. And that is nice. Okay, I'm going to start with this piece because I think I like the placement of that. So I'm going to just glue that down. This I'm just using as a brayer. It helps push any air bubbles out. And I didn't get that quite to the edge, but the glue is probably already stuck. Yeah. Oh, there, it's drifted a little bit. I think that's fine. Okay, so this one I'm just going to trim off. And I'll worry about rounding the corners out a little bit later after I get everything done. Might come in and glue this down here perhaps, or maybe up here. Yeah, I kind of like that up there. I'm going to waste not, right? Let's use up the whole little scrap-a-doodle. Okay. All right, and then let's do... Yeah, I'll just cut that roughly to the right spot. So the key to this is don't overthink. If I start trying to arrange things, I'll be here for hours. So I'm trying to just find a quick placement and go with it. I'm not planning out the whole card in advance. Planning out the whole card in advance kind of kills my creativity, you know? I find that I have to just kind of go spontaneous, or it's going to... What takes so long is when I'm trying to plan it all out. If I just go with it, then there's... do I want to leave the part in the middle? Let me see. Okay. I think I do want to maybe bulk that up. If I put her there... Oh, hey, what if I go in this? Come at it from this direction. Or actually, not drop that on the floor. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. I've just been gluing down random pieces. Let me play with, what if I put in even a part of that? I'm thinking that kind of that kind of goes maybe with a different card. I do think, however, oh boy, hey, look, this might work. I'm gonna take a chunk of this, not the whole thing. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe I don't like that. I might not like that little pointy part on it, but I might be able to use something like this. Yeah, maybe something like that. And this is the part, see, this is what I mean when I start fiddling with it and, oh, maybe cockeyed. When I start fiddling with it, then things start taking longer. Yeah, I just want to fill in kind of this area down here is mainly what I'm after here, so. Which way did I have it? You guys are probably all going, oh, Christy, it was this way, it was this way. Oh, that's not bad, though. Look at that. Going back here. And that overhang just a tad. I can clean that up later, but I'll get it while I'm thinking about it. All right, now I have this odd piece. Don't actually have to cover the whole thing because she's going to cover part of it, so. I think somewhere right in there is probably where I want it. Yeah. And so for this one, I'm going to glue a little bit right there. And I just did it that way because I was holding it in place of where I want it so that I could just get a little bit of glue out here to the edge. All right. Okay, now, see, we're coming right along, getting our scraps on there. Before I place her, I might have just playing with a few other scraps on my desk here. That's probably too overpowering. Okay, we're getting there, I think what I want to do next is, there was an extra card. I mean, one of these, it was part of the deck, but it's just a advertisement. So I punched a hole in it to use as kind of a template. Before I place her down, I want to make sure I know where the hole's going to go. So I'm just going to hold this template card over the other card and use it as a guide. Oh boy, that was... Oh, that was a little bit hard to punch. Okay. Caught me by surprise. I didn't expect that. So now I have my hole in place. I can kind of work with that to see. Might need to cover a little bit more of this anyway, because if I have to move her over beside the hole, then I can move her above the hole, but then she's really going to be high. Kind of want to have this little leaf thing showing though. I might, actually that would work right there. Now, here's the dilemma. If I glue her down, she may not stick really well because she's on pretty thick cardstock. I mean, like cardboard kind of cardstock. And so I wonder if, just the stress of being her, the hangover, where it hangs over, if that might want to tend to pull on it and stuff. I don't know, with such a large hangover. So I'm thinking about maybe instead of gluing, let me see, do I have... You know what, I'm going to glue her for now, but I might come back and put a brad in her to hold her down. A brad or even an eyelet. Maybe an eyelet would be better to hold her down. But I'll glue her in place for the moment. How about that? Up to her hands, which is right about there. Okay. Am I on screen? Yeah. So I'm going to put glue on her legs. She has really long legs. Okay. That works. That works. Okay. I am close to done. I think I want maybe a little something, another secondary focal point here. And then I grabbed a handful of, I print out little Bible verses and keep them on hand. So I grabbed a handful of short little Bible verses. Maybe something like that. I'm going to ink around that. Let me grab probably the brown. I could have had some of this done ahead of time, like inking this verse, but I didn't know until I built the card which color I would want to ink around. Okay. Not sure if this is the right one I want to use here, but let me just ink around this too a little bit. Okay. I like that. There's some little leafy pattern here, and then the leaves and the Bible verse. I think that might be a keeper. Might be a keeper. I'm putting the just a little bit askew, and then you know what? I have this little bit of some weird remnants of thread here. This is just some embroidery floss where I trimmed the tails off of a journal the other day. Let me see if I can kind of scrunch that up underneath. And I messed around so long that my glue got dry, so let me re-glue my little verse. Has to go high enough to get above the hole I punched. There we go. Not super great placement on the thread, but you know, it'll do. Oh, hang on. There we go. That's maybe a little better. All right. Just to give it some texture. A little bit of thread in there. It's pink, so it's very subtle, but that should give it a little bit of something. All right. You know, she might be okay. I don't want to risk it. I might off camera put a brad or a eyelet in there somewhere just to help hold her down. But otherwise, trim a couple corners. I could use my corner rounder, but sometimes I would use my corner rounder, but since I don't have it out and my scissors are right here, we're just going to go with this. Oh, this one's going to be a little bit tricky. I should have trimmed that one before I glued her down. Let me see if I can trim it backwards. There. That'll do. All right. There we go. We have our first completed altered playing card. What do you think? And then I'm going to put these on a ring, and that's why I punched them at the bottom. Some people punch them at the top or in a corner. It's kind of personal preference, but I like to have the ring at the bottom because then it's like I'm holding a deck of cards. So like if I was doing this, I would have them fastened together at the bottom, right? So that's what makes the most sense to me. But you do what makes the most sense to you. A lot of people put it at the top instead. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope you had fun here. We're going to periodically tackle our way through the deck and see how it goes. Thank you. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.